Okay. On the first day recordings, I already saved the one. It will be the lab. So I will let you try, and I will see if I can receive your feedback. If you like the format doing this way, like Tuesday link will be the lab, and then Thursday I will go through all the lecture part. Okay. So right now I will start with the lecture. So here's will be the lesson 3. We're about talk about some methodology and labs. And the methodology, I try to cover one is like how can we looking like those like digital forensic methodology. Okay, maybe how can we set up the labs that I try to do, and then maybe some methodology and approach we're using in the for the investigation, and how can we handle the evidence handling task, and common forensic software programs, and then documents. Documentation of methodology and findings. That's build all this like just a really rough idea, and I wish I can give you more like practical and something you can really follow and do. I will give you some template. So after you able to do that, then I will give you the template, the word format template. So you make a screenshot and then give me some like description, like tell me how did you able to figure out the result. Okay. So here's the things like how can we handle the original data as little as possible. This will say if as what I gave you the example, if we are the file, like if we lost that one, or like when we search the able to find it from our storage, okay, or hex from it. Then as a less, if I want to figure out, okay, some people like save some image, we want to looking for some target image, then how can we able to find? Actually for the, you see when we start to looking for some file, we call it have some like magic patterns or for the keyword. So if for the image, we're looking for like FFD9, then or like for PowerPoint Word file, then we are looking for specific range. Then we'll know like what's the beginning and then the offset of this file. Then based this range, then we can search for certain target. And when we handle on the hex, will be more likely will be try to like as little as possible, and we try to combine with the rules of the evidence. So just like when we like able to access those original data, and also try to avoid some existing one's knowledge. So if we are not able to, if something we are not sure, because when we try to do investigation and trying to access your knowledge, if you're not familiar, or of course when you're learning you have no idea, okay, that means like okay, maybe from the data format digits, like from binary to hex, then how can we hex the file, or like how can we handle format, because it covers lots of field and different aspects. So you need to really, if you want to be professional or like working for the investigation, then you need to know, okay, certain knowledge more than that, okay. And then also we need to create an analysis plan, okay, step 1, step 2, and then based on certain situation, and then what's the strategy you want to take in, okay. And the techniques, information collection consideration. So what kind of things we need to be considering? So maybe the lifespan of the information, if the data is volatile, okay, if they are like stored in the RAM, that means they executed or they will lost, okay, then we have to collect those information quickly, okay. And also collect the bit level information, you know, like we try to work on the bit and then change the hex and other form. We barely were able to get the exact data file, okay, then collect the bit level information. And the formal forensic approach always do the DOD. The cybercrime, they say that they would do they have the DC3, so we get the forensic standards. Then also we have some like firmware we can follow from the digital forensic research workshop firmware on scientific workshop group on the digital evidence framework. This or some like called the event-based digital forensic investigation framework. So there's a certain approach, like formal approach we can follow, and later we will look at it. And those format we comes with the documentation, and later I will give you of course, I will start with the lab, so let you to try to work on it. And after you complete maybe the later the submit format, I will give some really simple or like shortened Word format, so you can like show me, okay, how can you provide the documentation in a strong evidence processing documentation, and then good chain of the study procedure. So let me see, maybe I have it, or maybe no, I save right here. Okay, I don't think I'm safe right here, but I can share you later. And I have one is showing what are you looking for and what kind of methodology was the result. So that's how we're going to get. And so it's a chain of the costly, okay, procedure. And systems like, for instance, specialized should have like some good understanding, maybe hard disk, CD, or know how to find the hidden data in the upscale place. Okay. Because as we access to the hard drive, most of the data they store. If you try to restore the data, maybe from like USB hard drive, some deleted data, they will most of the format you're able to see maybe in the hex format. So how can we able to find? Or later I will let you to touch or like some USB file. So how can we find the deleted? Most of the time will be if we're searching for some deleted file. Okay, then how can we recover it? And instead, the techniques, some automated tools we can use to capture and evaluate the file select or select the space. That's what we need to do. And we need to know around some like, here's the math that is telling for file select searching. So if we need to write 1 KB kilobyte file to this, then there's a cluster size like 4 kilobyte, because and then there are the last 3 kilobyte of cluster they are wasted, and they try to all this like unused space between the logical end of a file and physical end of a file. So we call the file select space. So it's like when we try to have a cluster size like 4 kilobyte, when you learn the awareness, we talk about like writing some files outside. If we only want, then how can we check? Because the file select, it can be a source of potential security leads involving like some like password, networks, logo, some email database entries, image, or some like word processing documents. So it gives us some hints like to search, so able to find. And then what are the possible evidence when we try to handle the task? Well, of course, like step one, we try to like find. That means how can we get the evidence? So if we say, okay, it's the one given file gives you the image like this, then try looking for the evidence. And then the preserve. So we need to handle the computer and store the media with the caution, because sometimes why not it exists, but sometimes they just save in the like already delete the space. You know, most of the time when we like try to delete a file, remove something on your computer, actually it's not really delete. Most of the time we just like remove the header, or we try to let the OS, the operating system, know, okay, in this space we are no longer need to use it. Okay, so this we need to know. So that's why there's a reason it's possible to recover certain file, because let's say if we have the here's our storage, okay, and so for in these two blocks, like 3 of them, they already saved the file, and then let's say I want to delete a file. Okay, so once we delete the file, we just like release the space from this 2 block from your storage. That means you're letting your OS say, okay, you can overwrite this part. Okay, even though you say you can overwrite, if you didn't save any file or there's nothing overwrite on this area, that means your old file, old documents, maybe still like keep right here. Okay. And what's the most safety like for the, we call the deeply clean or USA, we try to rewrite all the bit. So we make it like clean or a bit, then we save it. But most of the time when we like trash your file, so it didn't really delete it. So it still like exists on the hard drive. Because, of course, there's some reason for mechanism why say, okay, when we delete the file, because it will increase the read write. But for save the read write times, we just like we let the OS to write on it once they know enough, or once like we try to allocate some file to assign to this area. That means this area, if nothing overwrite on it, it will be still like exist on your hard drive or SSD. Okay, so we are able to recover it. And documents like all these like evidence source or ensures that they're not like changed. So that's we need to do so for prepare. Okay, make sure like evidence they're not changed. Okay, and we have certain measures to help like for the evidence like gathering of avoid changing the evidence. Like if we are working on these two files, try not to change the file, and then determine when the evidence was created. So check the time, and then can we use it, or they are just only physical evidence. So you know, like because we say all the evidence, because for the digital forensics or computer forensics, they're using for some investigation, like for criminals. Okay, that means like they will be the evidence being used. So we always need to provide from the trust evidence, and then we need to search that through our device and then present this evidence well. Okay, so documentation, that's what they say. We have some like formal documentation format, but later we're doing. And the reports, so try to provide formal documents that details like expected, like express findings. And we need to consider three things, like always like format of the report, always follow the certain format, and the fruitfulness, and also backups, everything you say, okay, at least make a duplicate copy. Okay, and how to set up the forensic lab? Identify the function to be performed. That's what you need to do. We create the environment. Of course, like when I do it, just showing example, I didn't do that. I just use it. But for me, maybe later, maybe I will create a environment. Let's say, just if you're taking the malware analysis, possible, or we also create a VM, so we're executing on it and then make a copy. So identify what the function need to be performed, we need to do. So we need to define the activities and estimate the workload. If let's say I right here, I need to extract an image from the file, okay, from the Word document. That's the function. So I need to able to find the original, like let's say the JPEG file format, possible format. So it should be like ending start with the like this. I also save it. So right here, if you need it, I can share the content. Because this one is mine, so because the line, so I will like save all these, like the possible begin like FFDH, FFE0, so will be the JPEG format, and then it will be ended as the FFD9. So it's a merge word. Actually, when you see the FFD9, you know it's an image. So it's like right here. So, and then how much workload we need to use, like what the activities we need to do, like get the original one copy, and then looking for our origin data, and then search it, compare, and then export it. Okay, to see. Okay, then we need to determine some necessary equipment and software. So when I work on, let's say we will need to work on the hex file, and then we are using our Mac or using Windows, and then what are the equipments we need to do. So let you to determine, I would just let you to even I told you you can use the Notepad+, or like if you're using Mac, then you can using the what the has friend. You can use this one, and then what's the physical space requirements you need, and then what kind of security, like how to go backup. Because sometimes when you create, maybe you will by mistake, would you of course like directly touch this file. Maybe for security, you always like make a copy. We always say, if you remember in our previous lecture, I mentioned like all the copy, always make a copy, work on the copy. So that's what you need to do. Of course, when I upload it, I have original copy, so I'm not worried. So I'm working on the one also actually it's just a copy. And for the equipments, maybe the computer, maybe they have the RAID run, have a minimum. You know the RAID run RAID 5, all those, they are all different type of like backup. And also when we handle different type like hard drive and storage, and some like they the legacy state or state of the art or somehow like this different format. And also we have like different type of equipments, and you can like look at it. And for security, do they increase some network like this? And then the lab, we're gonna say we're not attached to the internet. Here's a reason, because we don't know if the attacker was some malware, right? So try to be isolated, and some like physical security, like really access to the lab. Here's important because we as well, we always be pretty, because what we did or like try to do is like getting evidence for the criminal. Okay, so that's why we need to have a really physical security, like secures. And of course, we have some laboratory directors, so you can look at it. They provide some like guidelines. How can we manage the lab? Also, upgrading the crime lab for forensics lab certification, a lot of like different criteria. And we have the different toolkit that we're going to use. Later in the lab, I'll tell you what you need to install, because for other lecture, we are focused on maybe one tool or some software application, one or two of the app. But for the process, maybe we need to be required to use different type of the tool software. So maybe I will give you extra slightly more time. Maybe you need to spend some time. I know maybe I'm using the MacBook and using the silicon chips, or some of the Windows or Intel chips for Apple. Maybe they're not working on certain platforms, so we need to looking for some alternative. Okay, if you are not able to do that or install it, then I maybe just give you a result, and maybe you just follow the format, then you can do the analysis. Okay, then I think will be better. Just let me know if you have a difficulty and installing it later. Here's the file. So here's the screenshot. So when we open it, then we can look in for some certain, let's say this image and how many folders. When they open it, what the files, you see all the file, and then what the file extension size and which type of category are the document pictures. So we have the information, you see a tag file extension, and then we can search for our drive, a certain work. So that's what I need to do. And then we have the FTK. So FTK is the format like this, and then search, and then it gives you some analysis. You can like looking for certain encryption hash MD5, and it will showing, give you some chart, and then with the like matching, you see the eBay and friends. Okay, freeze some certain things, content, and then we talk about if we remember for the lab certification, we have some PC hardware, the computer TIA Plus, or like some like Cisco or the CCNA. So they have different association related to the networking and securities and like hacking. And for those, the forensic specific certificates. So you see, NCASE is the, when we use, it also have certified examiner and the SS data certificate examiner and the OS forensics. And then we have the ISAT2 and then certified cyber forensics professional CCP FP. So we have different type. Okay, if you are interested, or later, I don't know, if you're working for those like laboratory, like for forensics, then it's good. And then forensics like specific, one easy console, and then make certified like hacking, forensics investigator, or hijack crime network certification, and then sense global information certification like this, will be like this. And so far it's like quickly tell you all those how the forensics lab, how do they set it up, and then the methodology approach we use for the investigation, and then some like evidence handling task, and was some common software program you're using for the digital forensics, and then what's the documentation. And of course, it's just really roughly, and I will give you more detail or some example how can we do the documentation. And later I will give you some tasks, how can we work on the digital forensics. And so far for the lecture, like it's the third week 3. Most of the time we try to do maybe just a lecture part, but for the later I try to add more labs and then set up. And every time maybe we use different software or to do the process. So I wish then it may spend plenty of time. So I work on the set the environment. So please let me know, then let's see how can I make the progress that better. And then you're able to submit the assignment or the assignment or lab report, I can call it. So on time. Okay, so far that's it for the class today. Thank you.